Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah the Rainbow Hearted Witch. Thank you for joining us this week on Witch Talk Thursday. This week, we have a very special guest, Gloria, and she is a clinical therapist who works specifically with star seeds and who is amazing. I love how holistic her practice is. So I'm going to just jump right in with the first question. So Gloria, what was the catalyst that took you away from traditional therapy to a more empowered and holistic counseling model?
All right. Hi, everybody. My background training was in the clinical approach. So I had quite a few years working from that approach to recognize that it didn't really work. It was very, very exceptional and rare that a person had the kind of conviction that you really need to free yourself from the turbulence of the mind, no matter how they were diagnosed. If you're identified in the mind to the mind, you can't approach it from the mind. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Right? I mean, Einstein said you can't solve a problem at the level of the problem. It's like it's your thinking, it's your identification to your thinking that's the problem. And you're going to try to strategically think your way out of that. You're just going to layer yourself with more stuff. You're not going
Right.
to free yourself, right? That
Right.
makes sense. It would take a person with exceptional true grit to have the kind of will to override all of that turbulence. So it really didn't work for most
Right.
people.
Yeah. You just replay and relive that same experience, that story in your head. And yeah, I mean, I love that you use hypnosis and breath work and, all yoga and
Yes.
shamanism.
And if I can jump in, what I do is unhypnotize people.
Right.
It's really interesting the way that we perceive hypnotherapy. Most people are hypnotized by their mind. We got indoctrinated at a very young age. You probably don't even know if you're absorbed by your mind that you are hypnotized by the mind. It's the pain that wakes you up. It's the pain of these programs and the suppression of your emotions and living inauthentically that eventually comes for you. So
Mm-hmm.
if pain has come for you, if you are suffering at all with this mind, these stories, this looping, this exhaustion, then it's a good thing. And rather than see this pain as more suffering, consider it your desire, breaking a threshold, the desire to know the truth, the divine in you. So it
Mm-hmm.
comes for you to break the shell of your understanding so that you can then recognize this is just a case of misidentification. You're not who you think you are, right? You're the inner dwelling. You're the being inside. You're not this turbulent thing that keeps telling you who you are.
Mm-hmm. I think that's great. You have studied yoga and shamanism and use these tools in your practice. How has that deepened your commitment to healing and supporting others on their healing journey?
Good question. All right. So the approach is primarily what what really resonated with me, resonated. I felt a resonance with this because I'd already been in the practice for, I don't know, 30 years. And what I realized is the fundamental approach is that you're broken. You're broken. You're disabled. You can't. You're sick. You got a gamp. You're not enough. And so we're going to give you a therapy, a pill, a modality, but we're approaching you by seeing you as needing fixing. Yoga does the exact opposite. Yoga is a practice that says don't identify at all, just breathe. It's a breathing practice primarily. Of course, there are poses, but you're breathing, you're in the body, you're not in the head. You're free during the practice, unless the head bleeds into the practice. But that's why it's a practice. We're constantly dealing with this sort of intrusive mind, but you can get very good at being in the breath and being in the body and being in the witness to the mind and therefore freeing yourself. So you leave class a little lighter, a little less identified. And the shamanism piece is very much based on the same premise. It's a you're not who you think you are. Let's go in and experience the truth of your being.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to use plant medicine. They're going to use ceremony. They're going to use these other practices, but it is ultimately so that you can experience being you, not being caught up in the mind.
Right. I love that you showed me a pose, how to like literally, it was like throw off my depression, throw off that, like, it was amazing. I love that. It's so powerful. Like, you
It
don't
is
think
powerful.
that yoga would do that, but it does. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's our bodies are pretty cool. Our bodies, we didn't get a little manual, but the apparatus of our physical body is very, very intelligent, intricate in nature, and we can learn from our bodies.
Definitely. Um, you have shifted away from traditional therapy to awakening, and that's what you focus on. Are you seeing more people waking up?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Do you,
yes,
do you think the
yes.
pain of the last 2 years has really been a catalyst, or do you think it's something else?
I do. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. The disparity between who you are and who you think you are, the greater that disparity, the greater the pain, right? The inauthentic life that you're living, in contrast to the heart's resonance back to the body, back to the knowing of the body. The greater that disparity, the greater that tug, right? That's the pain. And what I think COVID gave us was a chance to sit down and think about the job we're in and think about the relationships we're in, and just what we were saying. All right, I agree to this. It's insidious, and I'm agreeing to this shit that insults my soul. And now you got a chance to sit and be with that and recognize you don't even know how you got there.
Right.
All those little choices that you made along the way were just little baby betrayals. But now the pain added up to one giant feeling of, what kind of life is it that I'm living? And what am I really wanting to do with my time here on this planet?
Right. So you offer breathwork classes. Can you discuss what a class looks like if someone drops in?
Okay. Okay. So again, the theme here is moving from the head to the heart. And in the somatic breath work, soma, meaning body, approaches this modality from the premise that we are animals first. These are animal bodies with instincts and wisdom, and they know how to discharge trauma, and they know how to create balance in the nervous system. And again, approaching it from here, you could talk about your trauma all day long. It didn't discharge it from the body. So we breathe in such a way that we are igniting that unfinished cycle of injury to the tissue, to the physical body. It's energetic, but it's physical too. When you suppress pain, when you push down fear, and it just festers and it's dying to be released.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go with the breath to ignite it with intent. And so there's a lot of there's a lot of releasing through the breath, through the sound. And the body can sometimes do other things like tremors. Laughing is kind of interesting. I've seen shakes. I've seen a lot of different ways that the body discharges this suppressed energy. But at the end of that breathing session, so not 6 months down the line, when you hit all your therapeutic goals, like as you are leaving that breath session, you have recalibrated your nervous system, down regulated to where you want to live. Like you're breathing slower, your mind's not running the show. You're in the space between thoughts. You're chill. It's a beautiful thing. People usually want to sleep afterwards because I was about to say invigorating. It is invigorating when you're doing it, but then you're tired afterward.
Right. That's awesome. So, can you talk about what the soul's journey home to the heart is?
I love that. So, I believe that that's why we're all here. So, that's just the way that my perspective has come to see that, we all were born into this chassis and we knew how to survive. We knew how to be ourselves. But at a very young age, we were conditioned to please others and live in the conditioned mind of how to get the approval of your primary caretakers, your teachers, your bosses, your neighbors, your friends. At some point, it's everybody. You care what everybody thinks. And you're no longer living from your true heart's desires. So again, the inauthentic piece, it's like you find yourself, you don't even know who you are. You don't even know what you want. And that's a sad thing, when you ask somebody what they want, and they're like, I don't know. Like so disconnected from what I want in my heart, what resonates. And so that's the journey to start to discard and unravel and let go, which is a skill, of all the ways that you should on yourself, that you obligate yourself, that you show up in ways unbecoming, in little betrayals to your soul,
Mm-hmm.
and move into the space of, I trust my heart and I choose my heart. And it's going to take some courage to live from my heart. But what's the alternative? I already know what I was doing before, and that's no way to live. So you really have to have that courage to go, I'm going to trust honest yeses and nos that vibrate in my chassis. We call it resonance. And you just trust the resonance. If it feels good, move in that direction. If it contracts, that's a no. Now verbalize it and get behind it. Start to live it.
It sounds so easy, but it's very complicated. We're so detached from our bodies. Like some of us don't even really know what our bodies feel like because we're so detached.
Yeah. And that is why the somatic breath work is the quickest line from A to Z, because you don't have to do yoga, you don't have to do postures, you just have to breathe. We can all breathe.
Mm-hmm.
It's not illegal, right? They took away the other good stuff, made it illegal. I like working with plant medicine and the somatic breath work. I like doing those hand in hand. In fact, we usually have I call it a little uh, hape pre-party. Hape is a tobacco that the Amazonian Indians um, go out into the earth and collect, and it's got this kind of a bitch slap sort of intensity to it. So when you start your first breath, you are in the body. We're not
Wow.
going to waste one breath trying to get out of the head. You are immediately in your breath, in your body, in the rhythm of discharging this trauma. And after the Shavasana, which follows the 6 cycles of breathing, um, you have gone to the sweetest place. You have been drinking from the wellspring of your own well being.
Mm-hmm.
You make no mistake, it's in you. That divine, that desire to meet the divine in you, you've been there. And
Mm-hmm.
you leave a little different. Like, I don't know how I got there, but I got there. I can do this again, right? I can do this again. And there are people that commit to this breath work every day, and it's life changing.
Yes. I have a friend who is very much into breath work and she loves it. She says it's been a game changer for her, a life
Yeah,
changer,
yeah,
literally.
yeah. You feel lighter. You literally feel less weight on your back. You don't realize the energetic weight that guilt and shame and suppression draws from you. You don't realize it till you free yourself from it. And then you're like, I got energy. I feel good. I feel frisky, a little ready for anything kind of thing. And it isn't pious and ceremonial, it's animalistic. It's like, let it go.
So it's interesting, when I started out on the spiritual journey and the spiritual path, you think of it as like astral travel and leaving your body. But I'm finding the further I go, it's more about embodying your body, getting more
Yeah.
human. To go to the 5D
Yes.
or to raise consciousness, you have to really embody your body and live the human experience. It's not
Yes.
it's not about getting away from the human experience at
Yes.
all.
Yes. You got it. You got it. Because a lot of people get identified in the spiritual, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
It's another mind, it's another pothole that you could fall in and spend a lot of wasted time. The
Right.
more compassion you have for your human experience, recognizing how we can show up kind of messy. We
Yeah.
can show up in ways unbecoming, and it's going to happen. We're going to trip, we're going to fall. How gracious are you with that aspect of yourself? Is it going to be the whipping critical mind, or are you going to bring some compassion forward? So
Right.
that compassion for the human experience, that's all we really want, isn't it?
Yes.
Is to be nice to ourselves inside of ourselves. Like no one else can really make these changes for us. It's up to us to change the relationship that we're having with this human experience. You
Right.
said a mouthful. That's the balance that we're here to find. Does that make sense?
It does. How do our emotions catalyze the body and evolve our consciousness?
Wow. So emotions are waves of energy, right? We have names for them. We can call them sorrow or sadness or whatever, anxiety. We have names for them. But at the very rear core, they're just waves of energy. And they move, they're designed to move through us. So if you suppress them, you're going to get sick eventually. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to get sick. It's going to create a dis-ease. If, by contrast, you let them move through, they're going to inform you. They're going to remind you of who you are. Interestingly, they bring you closer to your intuition. They bring you the closer you can get to the embodied experience of those emotions that are running through you, the less judgmental you are towards them, the less you suppress, and the more you express. Each one gives you like a ripe plum that just gives you this insight that you needed, this awareness. It's really, they call it emotional intelligence
Mm-hmm.
because it really does connect you to your inner wisdom.
And how do you cultivate emotional intelligence?
You give yourself permission to feel what's arising, right? In the moment it's arising, ideally. But if you're uncomfortable crying and you're in a yoga class and tears want to come up, but you don't want to express in a yoga class, then what do? Do you take it home and give it expression, or do you forget about it?
Or maybe,
Right?
or go to the bathroom and cry? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Did I stray off the question? You said, how do you cultivate this emotional intelligence?
Yeah.
I create blocks of time to be with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not just like I'm going to meditate for just 20 minutes. It's like I'm going to spend the evening with myself. And the longer that I pay attention to what's in me, I find all kinds of stuff that got suppressed that I didn't need. I wasn't aware that I had suppressed. So I can be present to that in that moment and not let it accumulate. I just keep recognizing that, this human experience is hard. And we live with a bunch of indoctrinated people. And so, yeah, it is going to be hard to cry wherever you are, a family reunion, at a yoga class, wherever you are, in a doctor's office, in a waiting room. I don't know. We do that to ourselves. But if at some point you could say, I recognize I'm not out of the woods yet with this courage to be with what's arising in the moment that it arises. So I'm going to create periods of time where I give it my attention. I let it have its way with me. I give it the expression it wants.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be rage. right? That could be really just like a deep, deep, deep boiling rage. So, however you do it is up to you, but recognize that if you don't do it, you're imprisoned.
Have you heard of those rage rooms? I had never heard of it before. And we went to Tucson and it was like rage room. And I was like, what is it? And I guess you just go and like break stuff.
That's wild. In the somatic training that I got, the somatic breathwork training, it might have felt like a rage room a couple of times. Like people were just letting it rip. And it really is contagious because if everybody else is yelling, you might as well be. And you'll tap it, you'll find it, even if it wasn't there. You can find rage. You can do
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the actors do. And
Right.
imagine how good it feels to feel rage. I remember writing that in my journal after the first day of class. Rage feels good in the body. Like let it go full throttle and let
Yeah.
it gift you.
I think I want to check out the rage room.
I don't know if we have one in the valley, but they're a great idea.
Yeah, it was in, those escape rooms. It was like escape room, rage room. And I was like, what is that? And then I was watching this TV show called Maggie on Hulu, it's a cute show. It's about a woman who's coming to terms with being psychic and opening a business as a psychic practitioner. And somebody goes to a rage room. And I was like, that looks pretty fun. So maybe it is something. It was kind of like synchronicity. I'm like, okay, if I see it one more time, maybe I need to go to a rage room.
Well, if it resonated with you, especially,
Yeah.
if you felt kind of frisky, like curious, and maybe lean in towards that resonance, and that's what's guiding our life, right? That interest, curiosity, desire. You feel it in the body, so you don't really have to. You can see it 3 times or whatever. You can do stuff like that, like it's a sign, or you could just ask yourself, "Do you want to go?"
Right. That's true. Yeah.
Because your body will answer you.
Very true. So, are you still doing your group for for star seeds and people waking up, or have you gotten away from
You
that?
know, yeah, I have. It keeps morphing. It keeps morphing. We went more towards embodiment, and now it's got an element of plant medicine, breath, guided meditation. Sometimes the sound healing works its way into that extended meditation. But what I've started here lately that I really like is giving us time to share after, because when people have been resting in their own divine wellspring and being fed and being filled and being nourished, it changes the way you orient. So now you don't have the same kind of concerns or fears or inhibitions. You come up with this kind of fat, dumb, and happy face, and the shares are so profound and amazing that I like to give a little bit of time for people to really feel witnessed by their experience. And, everybody starts to feel that commonality. Like, I'm not in this alone. Other people are doing this. I just have to stay with it, stay on it.
That's awesome. I'm sure you help so many people, Gloria. Is there anything else you would like to add or tell about yourself or your what you offer?
Okay. It's criminal, but since since we're just speaking truth here, I think that psilocybin is a great support in this process of awakening, because sometimes those walls that we have built around the heart, those that conditioning that I don't even know what it's made out of, but it's just layers and layers of fear. And sometimes I don't even know what, and they don't even know what. And how are we going to get them out of there? How do we free them from these programs, they got such a hold on their consciousness that the shrooms give you a chance to experience your heart and the dwelling and the being. And so, even though maybe the next day your mind comes back and you're back into the identified space, you remember. And that's what we're doing. We're remembering the truth of who we are. We are the inner dweller, the witness that's watching life. But somehow we got caught up in the head. And it's hard to pull your head out, pull your consciousness out of your head. It's hard. You
It
got it all
is.
wrapped up with survival. But the shrooms and any psychedelic, so, I haven't worked with LSD, but there's ayahuasca, there's MDMA, ketamine. I mean, there's more than just a few. There's a world of psychedelics. And what I like about working with them is that you can wake yourself up in one experience and recognize that that's true, that that's you. That's more you than the you that you think that you are in your head. And the experience is embedded in you. You won't forget it. It's profound. And so, what people start doing is just really craving. I want that again. I want that again. I want to live through my heart. I don't want to live through the torment of the mind. I'm done with the torment of the mind. So they become very, driven to experience that inner sanctuary. And, all roads lead to Rome. So I'm not judging the modalities. I'm just saying, in my experience, the best way to pull yourself out, commit to a consistent practice of breath, and don't be too cool to accept help from plant medicine, because they really truly do help.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why the government's made them illegal. Anybody who's got their head out of their ass is going to see right through that Schedule A stuff. They work. They help you. No more mental illness. No more taking your SSRIs till the rest of your life. No more. You're free. You don't need them, and you don't believe them anymore either. So once
Right.
you hit this truth, then you can see it, you can smell it, you can taste it. And all those little carnies, all those little come here, and they're just trying to lure you into buying their dumb thing. You don't fall for it anymore. You just don't. You're another good guy on the planet.
That's, it's like the real healers, things that really heal, like plants, and it's always going to be illegal. So it's like,
They're working on it, Sarah. They really are. Let's see, ketamine broke through, MDMA and psilocybin are next. The Multidisciplinary Association of Psychedelic Studies, maps.org, is a place where you can go to track that litigation. And they're doing studies now. You can volunteer legally to be part of their studies and be, receive the medicine. And they're doing it slowly but surely, trying to get the stamp of approval from our government. So
that's,
it's coming.
that's good.
Yeah, it's coming slowly.
So, Gloria, thank you so much for your time
It was
today.
fun. It
And
was fun. You can
I'm,
tell I love to talk about this stuff.
I do too. I love, hearing people's experience and, getting amazing people out there like you. I mean, you help so many people. You help me.
Thank
And
you.
so
Thank you. Thank you.
you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that. All right, Sarah, we'll be in touch.
Definitely. Bye, Gloria.
Bye, sweetie. Bye, everybody.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching my video. I had so much fun uploading it. I upload videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Check them out. I also have a Buy Me a Coffee if you would like to support this channel monetarily. So the links are down below, and I will see you all next week. Bye guys.